United States of America, November 4th, 2025. Elections are held across the nation for various state and local propositions and amendments, many of which include emergency services on the ballot. While most major cities and states set their public safety funding in more concrete terms, many smaller municipalities and counties are reliant on seeking approval from their voters on a frequent basis. This is Lifeline. Alrighty, and welcome back to another episode of Lifeline 911 with your host, Erica.
Hello.
I am your co-host, Gary, and today we are going to be discussing a topic everybody loves, taxes and elections. No, it's going to be a little bit more fun than that, I hope. So we in the United States just had a series of elections for November 4th, and it's interesting because on the ballot, like most people that live in large metropolitan areas don't really have sort of the yearly vote to like say, hey, do we want to keep funding the fire department? Or, hey, do we raise money for a new 911 system? That's kind of all baked into the cake with your local government. Yeah. But in many smaller and rural counties and towns, you do have kind of that, yearly or every few years, you got to vote to re-up the money for the emergency services. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon that I don't think most people are really aware of. I know I wasn't until I kind of started looking at that because, I don't know, you just always think when I dial 911, there's a system in place to send me the help that I need. Yeah. And that's really not the case unless there's a lot of people that work very hard to do that.
Absolutely. And I mean, when you mentioned it, I'm like thinking, it took, it only took a split second, but I thought, what do you mean? Who votes no?
Yeah. There are some people that do. We're taking a look into three specific races that I thought would be kind of representative of, small areas in general. So we had Walker County, Georgia. It's a county with about 70,000 people in northwest Georgia. And they voted on their SPLOST, which is a acronym. I don't know why they chose that as the acronym, but SPLOST it is, for the Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. I told you this would be a fun episode.
SPLOST. Okay.
Anyway, it received 70% approval to add a 1% tax on to the region, the county, to fund, new 911 equipment and other emergency services. And then you have Collins County, Texas, which is a county in North Texas, north of Dallas. There's a lot of small little towns and villages that are. Do you call them villages in the United States? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Little hamlets all around. And they're unincorporated areas, so they didn't have, you have, of course, the sheriff's department in the county, but they didn't have emergency medical services or a fire department. So they voted to form their own emergency services district to have medical and fire available to the unincorporated parts of the county. And that also passed overwhelmingly at almost 3/4 of the vote.
Who voted no? That's what I want to know.
I don't have a list of names for that, but,
we need a list of names. Be like, ma'am, sir, really?
What are you doing? Yeah, because when you think about it, it does add more taxes, which nobody ever wants to pay. But the ability to have emergency services respond to you when you need it, I mean, is that not worth paying a little bit more?
Yes, it absolutely is. And it just blows my mind that I'm sure they have what for them are worthwhile reasons, meaning money. in my pocket. But I think you said, what is it, like one, not even 2% tax increase?
Yeah, so for that county in Georgia, they added on an optional 1%, not optional, but for the county, they voted on a 1% increase. I suppose it's counties that, if you've never had emergency services, you might not recognize it because, what the value of that could be.
Even as you say that, I'm thinking to myself, you don't miss what you never had. But my guess would be is they don't. I know they don't have it. They don't have it to where you just pass by and you see, oh, there's a fire station, there's an EMS station. Most people, in my thinking, would assume that if they needed it, they call 911 and it would appear out of nowhere from somewhere.
Hmm.
Whether they have that in their town or county physically sitting there like a building they could just go look at. They I'm almost certain they just assume that it will be there. Why would they think that it wouldn't?
Right.
Kind of like 911, you don't think about it until you need it. Most people just don't think about the fact that it's not there.
Hmm.
Because like with 911, I would imagine anywhere else, you don't think about it until you need it. And if you do need it, you just assume when you pick up the phone and dial 911, they're coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether you have that ability to walk down the street or drive down the road and go, oh, there's fire station one, two, three. It doesn't, you don't even think about it.
Hmm.
So those people that voted no, I don't think it was of, and obviously I'm assuming and speculating here, but I don't think it was out of, no, I don't want emergency services. My guess is they believe truly that they have emergency services because they've got to come from somewhere.
Sure.
What do you mean? No one's what? I have never needed it, so I don't know that it might not show up.
Hmm.
The thought has
It's
never crossed their mind that it wouldn't be there.
Yeah. There's an old saying. It's like an umbrella. You know, uh, you don't need it till you need it.
Agreed.
Um,
And those people would be shocked, amazed, surprised if they did call because this just passed. It's
yeah.
not like they're gonna be wake up tomorrow and then voila. This is not The Sims. Okay. You just I'm dating myself, but I'm just saying. You just oh, they need emergency services. Click, click. Do you have enough money? And if not, you can borrow some and then just plop it down and there it is. This is going to take some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got buildings to build, people to hire, people to train, policies, procedures to set, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So that Collin County, Texas county, for example, had 17 towns in the area that are unincorporated opt in to the
Wow.
ESD, and 10 of them opted out or didn't respond, from what the article was saying. I mean, like, so keep in mind, this is not like 100,000 people in a town. These are towns of like 500 people, 1,500 people. I mean, they're small uh, establishments. They've previously, when they've needed, fire assistance or whatnot, the large towns in the area have been sending their resources in the county, into the county to help them. And then they've recently started saying, you know what, we can't keep doing this indefinitely. You guys are going to have to come up with some long-term plan. So this is kind of where they're starting at.
So wait, when you say opt out, those ones that opt out, they're not going to have anything, or they said. I guess what I'm confused. So there's like 17 small towns in this county area, right? And they voted to create their own co-op or district
Yeah,
of
yeah.
emergency services. So they're all going to band together. Was there anyone who opted not to even do that?
Yeah, so there's 27 towns in the county. 17 of them said, "Yeah, we're gonna all work together and impose extra taxes, to pay for this." And 10 of them, the towns, either said they didn't want to do that or they didn't respond to the solicitations for that. So um, it'll be interesting to see because will like a fire department that's bought and paid for by, these 17 towns go help a fire in one of the 10 towns that didn't want to pay?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking is like, wait a minute. How does that work? We don't say no, we're not going to help. I don't even know where my head doesn't even know how to compute that.
Sure, yeah.
Interesting.
But like also conversely consider how would you feel as somebody who lived in one of these 17 towns if you were now paying the taxes to have your own fire truck in your area and your house catches fire, but they've sent that fire truck to a town that's not paying because there was a fire there and your house burns down because of that? You'd be pretty unhappy.
I would be unhappy, but it's hard for me to take off my first responder emergency. It's hard for me to
Sure.
take that hat off and go, well, I don't care who, because I'm thinking about, I don't care if you have if you, surely you have insurance or so. I don't know, but I know somebody, whoever called first is getting the truck.
Right. So that again, that's your first responder hat, or whoever's in the most difficult, medical situation gets the ambulance. But like, how would you feel if you're like, I've paid, extra taxes to have this for me and my family, and it's sent somewhere else that aren't paying it? So it's, I don't know how that's going to shake out in the county, or if those other 10 cities might join in.
I need to talk to some people because I need answers.
The interesting thing is it also goes to show how popular these positions are. So the one in Collin County passed with 3/4 of the vote. The one in Walker County passed with 70% of the vote. So I mean it's a popular resolution to have that. People I think intrinsically understand the need for first responders. Police,
Yeah,
fire, EMS, and they're willing to, you know, maybe not have them cruise around in Cadillacs, but they're willing to make sure that there's somebody to respond to their emergency,
yeah,
even if they have to pay a little bit of money on top of it.
yeah. Because when you think 911, and of course, you could say we're biased, but I don't think it's biased. I think even before working for 911, I didn't. If someone said I have to raise your phone bill $2 a month
Mm.
to pay for 911, I'd be like, I wish it didn't cost $2, but I'll pay it. What are you gonna say? The thought would never cross my mind to be like, no, that's highway robbery. I'm not paying.
Yeah, because ultimately that's sort of everyone's last line of defense is to call 911,
Sure.
and everyone's aware of the number, knows it. I think the brand recognition for 911 is pretty much
I think we're pretty
unanimous.
good. I think we're doing okay in that arena. We don't have to advertise because I
Uh,
mean, which is good because we wouldn't be able to pay for it because we don't sell them.
exactly. Yeah. You know.
We don't have like a bake sale or we don't sell t-shirts. You know what? That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Maybe some Lifeline merchandise. Just saying.
Some 911 merch,
Yeah.
absolutely. Some swag that you could purchase. Who would get the money though, would be the
Yeah.
question. Because my guess is it would not be you or I.
That's well. I mean, if it's a Lifeline shirt, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is
But
true.
what is kind of interesting about these particular cases is these are propositions that the voters have to vote on, you know,
Mhm.
maybe not every year, but every 2 or 3 years to re up the money for these. Whereas in a large metropolitan area, you don't really vote on that. That's kind of handled by like city councils or,
Yeah.
other people that are allocating the monies. Um, do you think that that is kind of a better way, a different way, or a worse way to allocate that? Because you, as somebody living in one of these counties, can use the power of your vote to say, you guys are doing a good job, keep funding them. You guys are not doing a good job, don't fund them so much, or fund them more if they're having some issues, that kind of thing. Whereas you don't really have, you know, kind of as much of a direct say in the individual line items that big cities or states pass. So you kind of get to almost get your government a la carte this way, which is kind of an interesting concept.
I love the idea of voting and holding your elected officials accountable. I love the idea of, like you said, you guys aren't doing a good job. I'm not voting for that anymore. But for something like emergency services, I'm not sure it should be left to chance that way
Mm.
because of the general public's typical, not typical. It's typical that they don't understand what it costs to run something like this, or what it would cost them if it was not there. Because I'm telling you, I go back in my mind. I think if you asked if you found someone who voted no on either of these propositions and asked them, did it occur to them that they might not have any emergency response at all? And I would take that bet if you wanted to bet that they would say, well, no, somebody's coming, right? When I call somebody, I don't know where they're coming from, but they're coming. The idea that there might not, literally may not be someone coming is probably never crossed their mind.
Sure, sure. But that would also force, agencies like that emergency service district to make sure they're doing a good job getting out that messaging. They couldn't
True.
just rest on their laurels. They'd have to be like, hey, everybody in the county, just wanted to let you know before you go to the polls. This year we met our goal of the NINA standard of 90% of the calls answered within 10 seconds. Here's our response time, because it would hopefully, in an ideal world, utopia, it would create a more informed electorate. I'm not really. I wouldn't bet on that, but
Say,
that
would you take that bet? Ha!
no.
Utopia or Zootopia or any of the opias.
Mm,
No.
myopia.
I, but you're not wrong. Being able to show that, yes, we're doing a really good job. I could see that being really helpful if you're asking for more money.
Mhm.
But I think you could even argue the opposite. We're not doing a great job because we don't have enough people. We need some more money. Cough it
Sure.
up
Yeah.
with your vote. So I'm curious. I would be curious to know or see any of the advertising or information that went out, whether it was those flyers that or those mailers that you get in your mailbox, or
Eh,
were there commercials saying, hey, I don't know if you paid attention to this particular proposition, but this is what it's about. PSA, public service announcement. I would be curious to know if something like that went out to educate people. How
yeah.
did they go? Or did they just read it on the ballot as they're going down, down, down? Oh, 911, sure. Because that's what I would do.
I don't know. I hadn't thought of that angle kind of until we were talking about it, so I didn't really research how that got passed. But
That would be so interesting to know.
yeah, it obviously, whatever they did was an effective campaign, because I mean they got 3/4 of the people to vote for it, and good luck getting 3/4 of anybody to agree on anything.
It's the truth. Don't get me started on just where I work.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like that would be kind of an interesting thing to look at. Like, would that make emergency services and just government in general more responsive if it was more of
Yeah.
I don't know, a direct democracy where you vote on like every issue? Or would people kind of be like, there is way too much to worry about, I'm tuning out, I'm not going to vote at all? So
Or should 911 be a automatic, all of your taxes are being paid into this pool, kind of like, in a town like the size of Austin, all the
mhm,
taxes go in one bucket, if you will, and then your city council, city managers, those people get together and they say, okay, well, police get X dollars, comms gets this, and water gets that. I almost like that a lot better because I don't want to have to worry about it. I want to be able to pick up the phone
eh,
and yell help, and somebody
right. I mean, yeah.
sends it.
Ultimately, I think that's the goal, that people want the and need the services that they need when they need them, and they don't want to have to think about them other times. Because, I mean, for example, like at your house, you probably don't know your local plumbers very well until you need a plumber and you got to look
Yeah.
them up.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and the same thing with emergency services of all kinds. You you don't really think about it until I mean, you might hear a siren go by as you're driving and be like, oh
You're like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there's an ambulance. I've seen that. There's a hospital. But you don't really like it. Doesn't. It's not really part of your mental mindscape,
No.
unless you're like us
Like
weirdos.
us. I mean, and we
Yeah.
we think about it all the time. I mean, and then it's somewhat off topic because it's not about the emergency services in the sense that we typically talk about it. But I had I had a reason to have to take a Lyft ride a few weeks back, and the driver, nice guy, asked me, where you on your way to? And I said, I'm going to a class for work. And he was like, oh, what kind of work do you do? 'Cause I never lead with it. I just let it happen organically. Because undoubtedly, the question is going to be, what's the craziest call? And I'm
So
like, how much time do you have? Matter of fact, I honestly can't think of one right now because it's on the spot like that. I should have one ready, but I never do.
yeah,
And he was so surprised. He goes, I have never met anyone who does that.
that that is actually kind of surprising for a cab a hack, if you will,
Yeah.
um, because they meet lots of people.
He said, and I could tell it was genuine. He was like, wow, I have never met anybody who does that. It's like that job is like a myth.
I've only seen it on TV.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's how he was. He was like that. He was really surprised that I'm like a real live person holding my cup of coffee in the back of his. I think I was in a Glade or something like that. And I didn't trust me, I didn't pay for that. I didn't pay for that ride. That's just what showed up. But thoroughly he was delighted at the idea that there's a real person on the other end of the phone. He knows that, but it's y- like everybody else. You just don't think about it until it's right in front of your face. You either need it or you meet someone. And so I still stick by my theory that those persons in both of those, either the towns that opted out to be, opted out of being incorporated into that district, or the people in Georgia who said that would they get enough of my money. They're not thinking about it big picture.
Mhm.
Now maybe the people in those towns who voted not to incorporate probably did not understand that there's a very real possibility that they may not get those services, just like people are like, they do exist. Makes me think about the
But
commercial for with M&Ms and Santa Claus.
uh, they do exist. Oh.
They turn around and look at each other like, "Oh, I thought you were a myth. I promise I'm real." And so is the threat. And like us, we had no idea that was a thing. What do you mean you voted to have 911? What? I thought that was
Mhm.
part of that 55 cents or whatever it is that's tacked onto your phone bill.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head a lot with that, because one of the reasons that we do this show is to kind of humanize and bring to the forefront not only us but other people in the industry, for everybody to come watch it, because anybody could watch this podcast, and I hope they do.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
but to kind of understand, like, yeah, this is a profession. You may not think about it as much as you would like a mechanic or a doctor or something.
Yeah.
But there are real people that do this real job, and there's real
Yeah.
things to consider. And in order to do this job, as much as we both love it, we need paychecks to do it.
I
Which,
mean, yes, if I
yeah,
didn't need food or shelter or clothing or any of the things that I spend my money on, if I didn't need those things, I might would still do it.
hmm but
Yeah.
yeah, there are, I think, very few millionaires that do the job. We'll say that.
I never met one. Let me
So
just
yeah,
say I've never met one.
It needs, resources in order to operate and function. And that's not even counting equipment. Fire trucks ain't cheap, ambulances ain't cheap.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's like, that's very interesting that people would like vote on that on like specific items like that. I don't know. I'd have to consider that a little bit longer, I
Still
think.
stuck on the possibility that somebody said absolutely not.
That's fine.
Totally fine. It just
Yeah.
baffles me is all.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below, like if you live in, from what I was seeing, these are mainly fairly small, maybe not square miles wide, but population wide
Yeah.
counties. Like, do you have ballot initiatives every few years where it's like, let's re-up our spending on emergency services, or is that all taken care of for you by your representatives?
Yeah.
Because I'd be curious to know that.
Agreed. Because when we came on and we're talking about what topic, you brought that up, and I'm like, what? Now
Well,
I'm fascinated. I want to find these people. I'm just not gonna happen, but I'm just saying, I would love to sit down with a cup of coffee and maybe like a coffee cake with extra crumbles on it, and sit down and be like, so
yeah.
where exactly do you think your 911 services are coming from if this thing didn't pass? I'm just asking.
In fact, that may be a good guess to try and get on somebody from one of these counties to talk about how that initiative went.
Who knows what we would get? I'm gonna let you write that email, Gary. You go right ahead.
Well, while I'm busy writing that email, I hope that all of you will take the time to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment for us down below. We have enjoyed being with you, and we hope that you found this video somewhat entertaining and possibly even informative. I know I have. From all of us at Lifeline 911, I'm Gary,
I'm Erica.
and we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching our production of Lifeline 911. If you have any questions about today's topic or topics you'd like us to cover in the future, please reach out to us at lifeline911podcast@gmail.com. This has been a production of Lifeline 911 Podcast, copyright 2025. From all of us at Lifeline, stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Lifeline 911 signing off.